Welcome to the first ever episode of the Triple Crown podcast. I'm Max Greenberg, the host, alongside
Stu Greenberg, the dad.
and you want to introduce
Sean, his girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
Stu.
Yes. Versus Max's.
Oh, I'm a little too old.
That would be weird.
Yes, that would be. So,
But I do drive,
Uh-huh.
so it might not be that bad.
I do too. So,
Well, you haven't gotten a license yet, but okay.
Eventually we'll get there though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is now the new home of the Max on Sports segment. We've taken it, extended it to 60 minutes. So, yeah. So all 4 major sports will be covered here, as well as a bunch of the other big news. I will say for this one, Sunday football is going on, so when we do talk about the NFL, things will be changing live. So what I say now may not age so well 2 hours down the road because of what could happen game-wise. So, as well as signings as well, because it's the off-season for MLB as well. So, with that, we can get started. And speaking of the MLB, we have a good amount to talk about with a lot of the news with that there. So, especially with the big free agency chasing now that winter meetings are over. The top free agent, Juan Soto, has a new home. I'm not happy about it because he went to crosstown rival Mets for 15 years and $768 million. This definitely makes the Mets a lot more of a contender. They can now hang with the Phillies a lot more. They can definitely slap the Braves whenever. I mean, they have that. They brought in Jose Siri from the Rays for a good price. So I like what they're doing a lot. It's going to be them, the Padres, and Dodgers as the 3 big to win the NL, go win the World Series. And what the other side has done, the Yankees, if we want to talk about them, they have had a pretty good pivot, I'll say. After you lost out on Juan Soto, you went and got Max Fried at a pretty good price because the Dodgers decided to break the market, which I'll get to later. You traded for Devin Williams, which was a great move. Now you don't have to worry about the bullpen blowing games. You got Cody Bellinger, and just recently you got Fernando Cruz, and you just signed Paul Goldschmidt last night. So now you and the Dodgers are now have 4 MVPs on the team, 4 former, 1 current, because Judge just won MVP unanimously. And I like it. It's now setting up for the Dodgers and Yankees to be competing down the road. This could be what I see could end up being like Warriors Cavs, where it's just always them down the road. Some more notable things involve the Kyle Tucker drama of him getting traded to the Cubs, which was shocking at best. I didn't expect it.
Max, why was that shocking? I don't know anything about sports.
Because the Cubs kind of came out of nowhere when it was really the Yankees and Astros trying to get the deal done. They offered, the Astros wanted Luis Gil. The Yankees had a whole package with him. Ben Rice was thrown in there. I forget who else. And then the Cubs swooped in and traded Isaac Paredes, Cam Ward, and I forget who the other guy. I guess some spot starter that they're going to be using. And Jose Siri for the Crawford boxes as being a lefty pull hitter who's going to pull that way towards the Crawford boxes will be good. Yankees fans aren't pleased about it because of the fact that they felt like they had a better deal lined up for it, but the Astros didn't want to because they're the Yankees and they don't like each other because of the 2017 trash cans. And yeah, the Astros are definitely on the decline. You're not getting Bregman back because it's been too long.
Are we talking about baseball?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
All right, you have to pay Framber Valdez this year. All right, Kyle Tucker's gone, and Jose Altuve is on the decline, so all that core is gone. So the days from 2016 and beyond are probably done. And you have that. Then you have the Angels spending money and actually getting people. They have Travis d'Arnaud, Jorge Soler. They just signed Yusei Kikuchi for a pretty big price of 3 years, $67 million, which is very interesting in my opinion. Reason being was that he's been very inconsistent up and down in Toronto. He goes to Houston at the deadline and He puts up like a 2.27 ERA. Looks very good, and here we are now. So if the Angels can get that version out of him consistently, it's going to look good. They're actually going to have a legitimate starter for that rotation, and they could put something up. I mean, the AL West is very weak, so if the Astros being legitimately only good team in there, and even so they're on the decline, the Mariners need hitting, and they can't get that with whatever has been happening with them, which I'll get to them when I talk about the Phillies later. And yeah, it's just very interesting. Then you have the Athletics, who it's very obvious what they're doing. It's very obvious. It's just they're trying not really to compete, but they have to throw money so all the owners don't get mad that they're tanking on purpose. That's why they got Luis Severino at that deal. They overpaid for him on purpose because they just have to throw money around, sign players, trade people so they look like they're competing. When in reality, they're not. They're moneyballing, which if you don't know is where you take your good players who are in contract years, trade them for top draft for prospects that you can turn into very good players and do that. It worked in the 80s, and then there's a book about it, a movie about it, and we're here now, and it just hasn't worked out well for them. Moving over to the NL West side of things, we have the Dodgers and their whole arc of winning the World Series and then breaking the pitching market with Blake Snell. Well, it's very easy that they didn't need to sign him. I don't think they needed to. I mean, you already had a good rotation. All your depth did get injured, though, and you're lucky Jack Flaherty carried you in some games down the stretch in the playoffs. But 5 years, $185 million is way too much. That's why the Yankees had to pay $214 million to Max Fried to keep him around, because pitchers are getting paid a lot of money. And there is no real salary cap in baseball. You have to keep that in mind. There's a fake salary cap with luxury tax where if you go over a certain amount, it gets triggered, but you can spend as much as you want in baseball. The Dodgers spending like $1 billion last year, and now this is probably going to trigger like some meeting with the players and owners, and maybe a cap does get put in, but
what's your opinion? Salary cap, yes or no?
I don't think there should be a salary cap in baseball. I think teams could like spend what you want, throw what you want. That's the beauty of the baseball offseason, in my opinion. You do that, and then like there's going to be not much. Also, moving Betts over to shortstop is a brilliant idea that backfired once, and it's going to backfire again. Good job.
But yeah, I have a question for you.
What?
I guess the rich always get the best players because they can afford the best players. Is that how you're thinking?
Yes and no.
Oh.
You can spend money on the good players, but also developing talent is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And, as
With
a Baltimore
trainers.
fan, Ming can attest to that with how they're all doing their things and all the talent they have from losing 100 games annually every year in the past decade.
What?
Yeah.
Baltimore
Well, typically the more you lose, you get to draft first, so you can draft the best players. That doesn't always work out, but it has so far for Baltimore. So
Yeah.
they need to make a couple more signings this offseason. They've
Yeah.
been pretty quiet.
I'll get to them later on, but it's just like for them, it'll be very interesting to see. Then you have the Padres. They still haven't re-signed Ha-Seong Kim yet, which he was a very big piece of their team. You need him. Also, you have apparently Roki Sasaki might go there. He's either going to go there or New York. I think he knows where he wants to go. His agent's just trying to make intrigue into it and just entertain the idea. I think he's either going to go one of those two places. The Yankees do have the money to bring him in because you need internal pool bonus money, not regular money because he's not over 25, so therefore you have to use that certain money. You get a certain amount. However, you can trade for other teams' money, so you can take other teams' money. The Yankees took the Red Sox money when they made another trade over there. So, who knows? They did have a presentation set for him, so it depends very much so what they do with him. speaking of the Red Sox, they did finally get a good pitcher or an actual ace for that rotation in Garrett Crochet. Yeah, I think that helps them out a lot. You have a good pitching coach. Your pitching staff got very good last year. You're pretty competitive. I think with this move right now, here you can compete probably for a wild card spot. I mean, you do have hitting, but it's just not good hitting, in my opinion. Your pitching is definitely your strong suit, and I don't know what you do down the road, but it just got to be, like, yeah, it's just not the best. Bullpen-wise is weak, and it only got weaker yesterday when you moved Cam Boozer to the White Sox. So, and then now Baltimore, we get to them. All I'll say is it is really the fault of their GM, and I'll say that you need to sign Corbin Burns. You haven't gotten it done because you want to be the anti-Dodgers, where you develop players from within. Your ownership wants to spend money, and when you have willing owners to do that, you have to go for it. But he hasn't because it's hurting his pride. When you have that type of thinking, that is going to set a team back. You also need playoff hitting. Santander is a free agent still. He's very underrated. I mean, switch hitter, plays good defense, 44 home runs, 102 RBIs. That is someone who's very good and a key piece, especially for Baltimore. And you're just going to let them all walk. That's just not what you do. You got to go get him. You got to go get Burns. You got to do that. Then when you go over to the NL East side of things, you have the Marlins trading top pieces away. You move Jake Berger over to the Rangers for some pieces. They just traded Jesus Luzardo today. I mean, their new GM at least has a vision, but even so, I still don't trust them. Because whenever they get so close to actually getting where they are, ownership blows it up all the time. And you had your other GM who had gotten you to the wild card. You had promise, and then they fired her for no reason. Bring in their new GM now, and then they start like 0-9, and like after 2 weeks, pull the plug and say the season's already done. And here we are now, with what they've done over the past year. And then speaking of the Phillies, where Jesus Luzardo was traded, and the Alec Boehm saga. The fact that he's just an average player, you want to trade away for attitude reasons. Yet you think that he's so good enough, you're gonna get like Mason Miller, Kyle Tucker, George Kirby out of them. Like, he's not that good. The only value he has is when he hits with runners in scoring position. Other than that, he's not that good. His defense isn't the best. He hits average. He's not that good, yet you want to get good return for him. You're trying to be the Rays without being the Rays. You think you're savvy enough to swindle these trades, you can't fleece a team because they're not smart enough to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's where it is now. Other than that,
Are you a Philly fan?
No. The person sitting behind you is, though.
Oh, she is.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You're a Philly fan?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you hear all those great things you just said about her?
No, I didn't.
You're going to love it when we get to the Flyers in a minute.
Uh-oh, them's fighting words.
It's like sibling rivalry.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a long drive home.
Yep.
It's a long drive home, and it may be longer.
It's gonna be. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, like, Max Kepler was a great move to make. He's very defensive minded. He's done better than Castellanos has. I think Castellanos might be gone because he hasn't really done much. Kepler can hit well. He can play better defense than Castellanos. So there's that. And I don't really think I'm missing much else. Other than there's still top free agents out there. Winter meetings did end a few weeks ago, and spring training begins in February. There could still be a lot of stuff going on. And speaking of a lot of stuff going on, on right now, we have the NFL.
Well, just one question, Max, before we go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Where would you place baseball in terms of your favorite sport to follow? I mean,
I would say baseball's my number one, honestly.
Okay, what's number 2?
Oh gosh, I'd say hockey's probably my number 2 right now, and then
Football.
I'd say that's 4, and then basketball's 3 because my team just won the NBA finals. So
Oh, you like basketball too? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and then now over to the NFL with the tanking by some teams, the phony Chiefs, the Bills' historic run right now. We have all of that. Speaking of some historic teams, we have the Chiefs, who there was no way that is a 14-1 team. They are not that good. They are just lucky that all that happened for them to be here. The Bills flat out exposed them.
Wait, they won 14 games
Mm-hmm.
and they lost 0?
They've lost 1.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't you think, Dana?
They were
Thank
they
you.
were a toe away from a loss, a blocked field goal away that they just got
Never mind.
on.
What do you think? Taylor Swift's out there helping them?
Nah, because
Okay.
Travis Kelce's terrible this year and hasn't performed.
It's all because of Taylor Swift too.
Oh.
And he also might be gone, as he might retire and join his brother. You have now, you're lucky Xavier Worthy's there to open up that offense, and DeAndre Hopkins you got for a discounted price. That's all I can say. You have the 1 seed for now. I highly doubt that you're gonna do anything in the playoffs. You probably will and go to the Super Bowl again. Like you usually do, just because. It's also coaching that's bailed you out as well. Now that Mahomes is week to week, who knows? You might just start Wentz, lose a lot until he comes back for the playoffs. You have that bye week, so as long as you don't lose the 1 seed, you'll probably be fine. Get Mahomes back, go torch whatever team you get. Face Buffalo, beat them again, and then go to the Super Bowl. Speaking of Buffalo, I honestly did not expect them to be this good. With what they've had salary cap wise and all the talent they had to get rid of. They look fantastic. They're not 10-3, they're like 11-3, if I'm correct. Allen looks like he's gonna win MVP, his first, and actually prove that he is the best QB in the 2018 class. This team looks good, but my question is, how legitimate are they? I mean, they have the talent, yeah. They have a pretty good defense with Von Miller still. I mean, they have good pieces on both sides of the ball. My question is can they beat the Chiefs again in the playoffs? They can do it in the regular season, but regular season and playoffs don't mean anything. If you can't put up in the playoffs, you can't do anything and you can't win. Once again, the Baltimore Orioles know that all too well with that awful offense in the second half and playoffs. And speaking of other teams that know that all too well, the Texans, and Joe Mixon has been unbelievable and has been carrying that team rushing wise. CJ Stroud has regressed a bit, but he's still good, and you still have that offense as well. Your offensive line is terrible, and you need to hard focus on that. Other than that, you have won the AFC South more convincingly this time. Good job. You are in the 3 seed spot. Oh, no, wait, that's the Steelers. You're in the 4 seed spot. You'll get a pretty good matchup. You'll probably win because you have a very good crowd and a nice stadium. The question is maturity. This is their only second year under D'Amico Ryans. My question is, how far can they go? Because they're going to be good for a while, but if they can't make strides now or they fall backwards, then they could just end up like the Jags, who are right now going to probably fire Doug Peterson. You're most likely going to get the number 1 overall pick, and I don't know what they're going to do with it because they already have a quarterback who's just mid at this point. And there's just not much to say about them right now. The Titans, I mean, say what you want about Will Levis. He's been fine, except for the mistakes he's made. But your team needs a whole lot more than just stable quarterback play. I mean, that's just enough said. Then the Colts with Richardson. I mean, he looked better after being benched, so he might come back. That injury will still linger, so who knows if he still has that mobility because he got injured terribly. And he did leave very early last season, and once again he got injured. So you have to stop him being reckless playing. If you can stop that, then he should be fine. He should develop finally. You should be fine. If you can't do that, then there's just not much to say because you won't have a good quarterback to have. Moving on over to the NFC side of things, you have the Eagles. I was very concerned with Nick Sirianni, especially taunting Browns fans, but you have Saquon who looked like an MVP candidate. He hasn't been that good these past 2 weeks, but that's been fine. They can attack you on the ground or air or with the tush push, which is happening more than once now and happening a lot higher without Jason Kelsey.
Stu, do you know what a tush push is?
It's a quarterback sneak, pretty much, but they just have everyone just push instead of just having the quarterback go. It's just a modified version of the QB sneak.
Well,
Yeah, they're basically pushing him from the backside.
Okay.
And if you need a yard, Stu,
okay.
go for the tush push.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew, I couldn't articulate that, but I kind of knew that was, that it was a strategy and a tactic to achieve goals, right? That would
Yeah, that's what it was.
That- yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a game of inches, Stu. It's a game of inches.
Everything is, man. Everything is.
And then you have the amazing upside of Jaden Daniels in Washington. He looks fantastic. Yeah.
So we were just talking about the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Now we're talking about one of their many rivals,
The
Washington Commanders.
okay.
Did you say Saquon? They used to be on the Giants, is now on the Eagles.
Yeah.
Love
Oh.
Saquon.
The what I
What?
Love Saquon.
You love him.
Yeah, grab your mic. Tell us how much you love
yeah,
Saquon Barkley.
Dina, grab a
Use
mic.
your mic.
Good.
Grab a mic, honey. No.
Oh, God.
Well, what I was going to say is here is my knowledge about the Eagles. They're in Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
Which Uncle Jonathan and Uncle Howard are in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
They are also the favorite team of podcaster extraordinaire Ralph Garman. And then we're going to talk about the Commanders now,
Yeah.
who is basically that's the team for Eddie Pence, one of my three favorite comedians.
Mhm.
So that's what I know.
Yeah. And Jaden Daniels looks to be a top quarterback for years to come. That was a great pick that you made, and it's gonna pay off well. All of the staff changes you made, bringing in Dan Quinn, looks to be good, and they should hopefully hold on to that last wildcard spot as the 7th seed. I do hope that they succeed because they had a terrible owner in Dan Snyder for all the years. Now he's gone. You have owners that are actually good and competent and aren't idiots who are suing people left and right for no reason whatsoever. Oh gosh. You upgraded from that. And yeah, all signs look to you pointing up. Even if you miss it barely, you'll still be fine. Just keep everything in the scheme fit that you have and you should be fine. Unlike the next team, the New York Giants. They should have drafted J.J. McCarthy over Malik Neighbors. You needed a new QB. Now Daniel Jones is gone. The fact that he wanted to be released himself is just insane and wild. That tells me he had that much leverage over the team, which is just not good at all, especially with how much they paid him. That contract aged terribly. And you also had Saquon, who was your best player, now he's torching you up 2 times a year for like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. It doesn't matter. Your team is like distraught and not good. Right now, Dina did show me the score. They're on their way losing to the Falcons right now. So hopefully you make the right decision and draft Shador Sanders in the draft. Don't draft Travis Hunter because you need a QB more than anything now. And you need to pull the plug and rebuild because it's not happening now.
Okay, back in my day, which was the 90s, the Giants were unbelievable. I actually house-sitted and watched the cat of a player. And it must have been the year they won the big ring, like I guess Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have phones back then to take pictures and FaceTime people. So they let me open up the packages. And so I got to see his ring before he did. And I got to see the wife's necklace. I think I had his number on it. And, I got that. And I actually, his first name was Bart. I forgot what his last name was. Was a friend of this guy that I was house sitting for. His name was Doug Riesenberg. And Bart called up and he kept saying to me, "You sound really nice. What do you look like?" That's what he said to me on the phone. "You sound really, really nice."
That's alarming.
Yeah. Dad, watch your back. You never know. Bard might be coming.
It was in the 90s. That was a long time ago.
If we can have just a brief topic change, what I realized that we didn't go over in the STU-ing It podcast is, weirdly, both Sean and I have experience in reality TV. I, of course, because everybody knows, I was on Comic Book Men twice, 2.5 times if you count me in the scene in Yoga Hosers when they were showing Yoga Hosers. But Sean, what is your reality show claim to fame?
Want to share?
I used to babysit for somebody who was on The Real Housewives of New Jersey. She lived in the same town as me. It was Teresa Giudice.
The table flipper.
Yes.
Huh?
And, well, that was before your time.
Oh,
Well, you were a baby then.
when was that?
A long time ago.
Oh.
When she first started out, she didn't live in that big fancy house. She was building it and lived in this little tiny house, and I was babysitting for her a lot back then, because it was a difficult task having to watch the 3 girls and who was running here, who was doing that. It was always interesting, always interesting to have things that were happening.
But during the filming, you actually were in.
Oh, yeah, I was on TV trying to convince one of the kids to come downstairs with me and do like an art project or something. And the little girl's like, no, I'm going to stay here. And the mother's like, come on, like, see if you can talk her into going down. And she would not go down. They ran the house. I was just the adult.
That's a good segue into the whole Jet situation, but
Okay,
yeah.
nicely done, Max.
Oh, speaking of kids running stuff, with the Jets owner and his teens having that trade lined up for Jerry Jeudy and declining it because of his overall was too low on Madden, and then the whole awareness thing just tells you what a clown show organization they become. Aaron Rodgers now has complete control, and meddling some got your head coach and OC fired. And here we are.
Isn't Aaron Rodgers the gentleman who believes in all conspiracy theories and things like that?
Yeah, he also trying to run for vice president for someone. I forget who.
Okay.
But yeah, Jets fans, I wish I can give you sympathy, but this is probably going to go on for some time. Him until he retires. He probably won't because he has all his buddies in now. Well, all I can say is the only highlight was that unbelievable catch Garrett Wilson made against the Texans in that game. That was a heck of a catch and should be a poster for years to come. And yeah, there's just not much else to say. Your team is like, I don't know where you go from here because you're not competing for anything, and yeah, you're just gonna be down there with the Patriots. The only thing I'll say about them is, they're doing a good job. Keep Drake May's development going, and he'll be pretty good to come. Yeah. I do want to get back to the NFC because of the other powerhouse besides the Eagles, the Lions. And having an 11-game win streak for the Lions is flat out unbelievable. It hasn't happened in almost 100 years. The last time they had a 10-game win streak was 1934.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
That's the last time they were, good. From being almost in the Super Bowl to that, they're banged up now, and who knows, but that's impressive. As long as they can hopefully get all their people back before the playoffs, they should be fine. I think so. They lost some big pieces. But, they look fine. But if you go up against the Eagles or Vikings in the playoffs, then it's probably just it for them, because I don't think that they can beat them.
All right, who's in the number one right now?
It's right now in between the Eagles and Lions for the 1 spot. The Vikings have the 5 spot because they're in the same division as the Lions, and you can't have 2 teams. And it's the top 4s are the top 4 are the division leaders. 5, 6, and 7, and 8 are it's 5, 6, and 7 are the other next 3 best teams. Right now, the Eagles should probably hang on and get it. I think so. They're the most complete team now, but as long as they don't mess anything up or go on one of their good landslides, then they'll be fine.
My one and only cruise I ever went on was with my friend Sheila, and we were we took a day trip into Paradise Island.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a little restaurant downstairs. It was like a New York deli. And they sat back, so we were all in tables back to back, like the booths and stuff. And the person that sat back to back with me was Terrell Owens.
Ooh, T.O.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there.
And of course, I don't know who he is.
I know
my
who
friend
he is.
Sheila didn't know who he is, and my whole pocketbook opened up and flew all over. So I had to tap him on the shoulder and say, excuse me, and he's looking the wrong way, like he was ignoring me. I said, I'm so sorry to bother you during your lunch. I said, but my pill bottle rolled over onto your side of the booth. Is there any way you can get it for me? And he took a deep breath and went and got it for me and handed it to me. And I said, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I bothered you. And everybody came over from the restaurant and wanted to know what my interaction was with him. And I was like, I don't know. I asked him to pick up my pill bottle. They're like, did you ask him anything else? I'm like, no, because I don't even know who he is. But he did have an earring, a diamond earring, the size of a quarter in his ear.
Yeah, that feels something, right? For what I've seen of T.O. and his reactions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he was he's like, I said, thank you. And he said, you're very welcome. Mm-hmm. And I was like a superstar for a minute since I bothered him.
There was there was a time when I was traveling internationally, I had to go to Paris for a meeting. And I had jet lag, and I had gone to a bunch of different meetings, and I was super tired, and I go into the lobby of the hotel, and there is a U.S. Celebrity. I don't know who it was. And there were all these young French people, mostly young women, chasing after him, screaming. So, somehow I get into the elevator. And he gets in. It's just him, and he's like, "Yeah, I get this a lot." And I'm like, "I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't know who you are." And thinking back, I think it might have been what's his name, Joey Fatone.
Joey Fatone. That's his name from
From
New Kids.
from NSYNC. NSYNC.
NSYNC?
Oh,
when,
wow.
when I think about who it could have been, I think it was him, and I think I was not very nice, but I honestly didn't. I was so tired, and I was like, what, but that's my.
He thought it was safe to get in the elevator with you than to stay there with those screaming girls.
I should say so.
Yeah.
Especially since you didn't know who he was. You weren't
Yeah.
going to bother him.
Yeah. And then-
Sorry, Max.
I know you're fine. Then we have the NFC West. Honestly, it was the Seahawks to lose. Now you have the Rams getting people back from IR. I think the Rams could get it because now that Gino's injured, I don't think this team has what it takes to win. That's all I'll say. And then the good old NFC South. The Falcons are right now on their way to winning, so they're now 8-7. As long as the Bucks don't lose to the Cowboys, I think they're fine to win it, and I think they'll probably move on. Now, for the Falcons to make the playoffs, they need to have Washington lose out, and they need to win. And I think that might not happen because they got destroyed by the Vikings 2 weeks back. So, speaking of also the NFC South, Saints fans, it's been rough. It was week 2, and you were looking like you were going to go play in the Super Bowl at your home stadium. Now your head coach has been fired. You have 4 wins. It's not looking good. Most likely it's time to move on from Derek Carr. You have other pieces, but yeah, it just wasn't meant to be this year, which is okay. Hey, sometimes it's just like that. Other times it's not, but it just wasn't your year, and that's just that. But yeah, glimpse of that offense and then to that's brutal. That's all I'll say. And then now we move on to another winter sport.
Skiing?
No, hockey.
Oh,
Curling.
Yeah, curling. Curling. Yes.
that's a favorite of yours.
Not really.
You don't like ice hockey?
I know I do like ice hockey. That's why I'm covering it.
Okay,
Yeah.
last.
Yeah, I thought you meant curling.
Oh.
No,
No.
I mean we still have basketball to
Yeah,
go
we
too.
will. Yeah.
All right, good. So I am keeping track.
You are, thank you.
Yeah. All I'll say is that if we begin with the defending champions, I mean, Florida looks very complete. They look like they haven't missed a step at all. They look flat out great. I mean,
Florida? Florida?
the Panthers, yeah, the Florida Panthers.
Oh, my friend Diane loves the Florida Panthers.
I mean, hey, they just won a cup. I mean, while you are in second,
But you know, you can't practice outside in Florida.
no, you can't. You have to go indoor.
Okay,
Yeah.
just want to get that straight.
Yeah, it's just, I think they're in a good spot. They'll definitely make the playoffs, no doubt about that.
Okay.
I think they'll go at least to the ECF.
You think they go up against the Rangers?
Knowing them, the things I have for the Rangers.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, oh boy, it's rough for them. Then you have the Leafs. When Matthews went down, I honestly thought this team was going to go on a big slide, but they picked it up and won, and then they got him back. It hasn't been the same. He's still dishing out assists, and he's still getting points, so he's contributing. He's also still an elite. The only issue is that Joseph Wool can't stay healthy and he can't be dependable. You need to worry about that. If you can get someone who can be that dependable, like a Forsberg or Allmark type player, you should be fine. Yeah, Allmark is a steep price to get. Forsberg, I think, is reasonable, and I think you should get him. But you should keep Wool around because he can be good. But he gets injured and he misses good chunks of games. And if we talk about Allmark's former team, the Bruins, it's been rough with Jim Montgomery firing him. It was the right move, but losing all of what you did in free agency, you just don't look like the same team, especially not the 65-win team. I mean, that was disappointing. Last year was also a bit disappointing. And here we are now. You'll still probably make the playoffs, especially right now. But I do doubt this team will win a cup, especially with this core. They're all starting to decline. and getting up there. I mean, Pasternak is still young and is still going to be a top-tier scorer for this team for years to come, so hold on to him. Swayman also still should be good, but breaking up him and Allmark was not the right decision. Also, Swayman's in a contract year, so look out for that. Other than that, the Lightning are a fringe playoff team at best. They are now in the declining years of their cup runs, so they'll make the playoffs, but they won't do much. And yeah, that's all I'll say with them. Kucherov looks fantastic, though. Losing Stamkos hurts a lot, but he'll be in the rafters eventually when it's all said and done. That whole core will most likely all have their jerseys retired by the team eventually. And then Vasilevsky, he looks more or less like what I thought he would be 2 years ago. This is more of his Vezina form that I like to see a lot. Other than that, there's not much in the Atlantic really to talk about. And then the Metro, now we have the team that whose hat I just took off to try to stay as neutral as possible. The Devils.
Well, two of my favorite people, Max Greenberg and Walt Flanagan, love the New Jersey Devils. So
They all look good. Sheldon Keefe has really revitalized this team. This team looks fantastic right now. He sure is definitely one of the best scorers on this team. He's also a very top-tier player, and Brad's speed and power off the one-timers should not be doubted. This team now has depth. Markstrom is legit the goalie that they needed. Allen hasn't looked the best in starts, but he's also been good, so he's fading a bit. But other than that, this team can go far, I think. I hope. Maybe some pieces away, but I don't know. I don't think they really need that much, but I like what they've done. Washington, oh boy. Why?
That's how I feel about them too.
Yeah. The only thing that hurting this team is OV with that broken fibula. I mean, that's brutal. But your goaltending has been very solid, bringing in Logan Thompson and free agency, and Lindgren looks legit. You can keep them around. That's going to be a good 1-2 for goaltending that you have. Tom Wilson looks good. You have pieces. PLD, there are still flashes of him, but overall, there's not much. It is the only reason they're up there is because the Rangers just can't win games, and they're just turning into a meme. And yeah, there's just that. The other real contender, Carolina. I mean, you blew it 2 years in a row. That's all I'll say in the playoffs. You still look very much so the same, but I don't trust them, especially with Anderson being injured. I mean, at least you got Kochetkov back, so that's good, but your goaltending can't get it done. Then we have the fringe playoff contender of them all in the East, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Wait. There's some. Do I understand? There's someone who may be a Flyers fan.
Some heckler just chilling over there.
The heckler just woke up.
And smiled at us.
Yes.
This team, performance-wise, is getting carried right now by Konechny and Michkov just assisting everyone.
I hear
Their power play is atrocious, and it's been that way. Their penalty kill has lost some steps, in my opinion. They aren't scoring all the shorthanded goals that they were. But other than that, this team has gone on point streaks, so they absolutely get lucky enough to win, or at least go to overtime or shootouts. The only way they can win is not in regulation, in overtime.
That's the only way they win?
No.
They're one-trick
That's not
ponies.
true.
It is true.
No, it's not. I know.
Does the official heckler want to get on mic
Well,
and
they finally-
give a response?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No?
I thought.
Once again, Ming, this is going to make the ride home a little bit
Little awkward. Little awkward.
awkward. Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
so-
Maybe we put Max in the front and I'll sit in the back with Gina.
perhaps.
Maybe.
So may I
You're right. You better be scared.
I'm not scared. You think I'm scared of the Flyers?
No.
so
No,
They-
your sister.
Dina? Oh, I'm not scared of her either.
I'm scared of your sister. So just some color commentary. You guys have the chance to have gone to some Flyer games, right?
Yeah.
What's that experience like to go see it in person?
It's very much so. This team struggles. They don't shoot a lot. They pass. It's kind of just they kind of have everything, and there kind of really isn't that much. I mean, there is a vision now, but there's still remnants of when they had Chuck Fletcher as their GM. Like, their defense is okay. I mean, Jamie Drysdale is a good piece to have, and Travis Sanheim is also good to have as well. Their goaltending gets injured a lot.
What place are they in?
They're currently right now in 5th,
That's pretty good. How about your Devils? Where are they?
1st.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But there's still time that the Flyers could catch up,
Yeah. But
and that your Devils can mess up.
yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well, we hope.
The Flyers.
that's reality.
The problem is that they don't have a legitimate superstar. I mean, they have stars, and Michkov, if he develops, could be a star. Other than that, their depth is fine. I mean, goaltending is fine for now. It's good enough, but it won't get you far. Alright.
When does the season end?
In April.
Oh, we got like another 5 months to go, and they could catch up or not catch up. True, right?
And then you have the team that Sean was mentioning was also a good team, the New York Rangers. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You gave Shesty the big bucks, and look where it got you now, 16-16-1. Your defense is a hot mess.
What does 16 and 16 and 1 mean?
16 wins, 16 losses, and 1 overtime loss. You get
Oh, that's not nice.
Mhm.
What does your Devils have?
They have 22. They're 22-11-3, so they are pretty much miles better than them. Their defense is slow. The hybrid system doesn't work for them. They traded Truba way too soon. They could have held on to him, and then you had one Capo Caco called your team out rightfully for scratching him. Then you respond brilliantly by moving him. He's going to be very good with the crack and live up to his potential there. While once again you get nothing in return except Will Borgen, who is just going to be a traffic cone for opposing teams to just run through. You guys can't do anything right. And I somewhat feel bad for Shesterkin because this is not what he signed up for with that contract. And even so, you just can't do anything because you can't do much with the money you have. It's unmovable, and you know you can't. So you kind of really can't go for broke. Even if you don't do anything at the deadline, which is what I halfway expect, and you save up the money so it becomes from $8 million to $26 million, $11.5 million of that is Shesty at the end of the day. So you still don't have much to do. You're up against the cap with a very aging core. Like, you're supposedly gonna move on from Trouba. Not Trouba. Kreider, which I don't think is gonna happen. Because if you somehow make the playoffs, he's the only one who actually shows up. Unlike Panarin, you're just a glorified off the rush team that can't do anything, and you're getting exposed for it. You need to switch up your defensive structure big time. Other than that, you can't do that, and just not much else to say. Other than that, your team is just there, and you're on the decline, and this is what I expected from you a long time ago. Have fun declining, that's all I'll say. Because they're going to be bad for a good amount of time. And also, if Shesty keeps playing the way he does, that contract is unmovable, and you just once again turned into the Habs with that Carey Price contract. And you're once again going to take a good goalie and ruin him by not taking him to the Cup. At least Lundqvist got to see the Cup. Too bad you couldn't actually help him out and win it.
What about basketball?
We still have half of the. We still have the other half of the NHL to get to.
Well, we have 8 minutes, Max.
Oh yeah, we'll get. I don't have. It's the West. There's not much to talk about in the West. Other than the Jets and Wild. I mean, also the Wild are way better than the Jets. I think, in my opinion, the Jets are just getting lucky that they went 8-0.
Wait, we're hockey? Jets are hockey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't ask about it. Don't ask.
What?
They're from Winnipeg.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
And,
thought they're from New York, like we
Yeah.
are. Well, we're not.
and Krell Kaprizov is going to be a great player, and it's showing now. And then you have Dallas and Colorado. I mean, the Avs are doing what they did last year. They had a slow start and just shot up and made it, but they were still a wild card team. I mean, they did play the Jets and embarrass them once again. So, yeah. And Dallas, all I'll say is this, your core is aging, so keep that in mind. The way you keep doing things, you have to win a cup sooner than later and not get stuck in the WCF like you always do. Other than that, they should be fine, I think. I mean, you have the goaltending, you have the scoring, you definitely have the defense, but it's just getting over the hump, in my opinion, is their biggest issue. And moving on to the Pacific, it's Vegas looking very good. I mean, their top four players in Barbashev, Eichel, Fyodor, and Howden still offensively sounded and still doing very good, in my opinion. Goaltending is still good. I like Aiden Hill a lot. I think he's a good player, and I like them a lot. I mean, the Kings are very impressive when we get to them. I mean, they're doing everything they are. They're in second. They're doing a very good job without Drew Doughty, who's out for the year when he got into the preseason. That's impressive, in my opinion. And they're doing a good job in that department. Offensively, I like them a lot. They're moving around, and Kopitar is just looking good. Also, Trevor Moore looks like he's going to be a top-tier player for them years to come. Then Edmonton. Oh, good old Edmonton. Once again, it is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl single-handedly carrying this team once again. And at least now he has some depth to help out. Other than that, you have the Canucks, who look like they've regressed a little bit, but I'm not that worried about it. They did just get Demko back, so they're going to be a little bit down before they go back up and find their form. Now we can get to basketball. Good old basketball we get to now.
All right.
Now,
With our 6-minute talk.
yeah, well, the basketball, the East is very easy. I mean, you have the Cavs, who are very sustainable win-wise. I like them in their young core a lot of what they've done. They look legitimate. I think they're real, and I think they can go far. And then you have the Celtics, who they can go on stretches, but they just can't win timely, and I think the Cavs might be clear of them. And then, I mean, I still think they will be fine in the playoffs. Like, they'll definitely make it. There's no question about it. It's just, can they repeat? If they can, this team is a dynasty and not just a talking point for them. And then you have the good old Knicks. They still give us comedic timely laughing and still get embarrassed on their home court by the Hawks of all teams. That moment of Trae Young kneeling and rolling the dice on your logo, I'll never forget because it's just funny to laugh at. Your team were the favorites again and haven't done much. I'm not impressed with anything that you've done. No, you've given up your future, and if you can't get past the second round, the Nets are going to just feed off of you guys and your draft picks, especially if you suck down the road and one of them lands to be number 1 overall. That could be like the Kevin Garnett trade from a while back. That's all I'll say. Other than that, the East is looking on the upside. I mean, the Magic finally getting all their players back. The Hawks are on the market and are trying to get younger. I mean, they luckily got the number 1 overall pick over the Pistons, which is just insane when the Pistons lost for a month straight. I mean, the Heat, who knows with Jimmy Butler? We all know he's gone, but who's going to get him? The Bucks are on the rise with Giannis and Dame playing very good and winning the NBA Cup, which does not matter whatsoever. Pacers, I'll say this as Dad is a Pacer fan. And
You are?
For all-time Pacer fan. Because when I went to work in Indiana, in Indianapolis, I had to learn about basketball or no one would talk to me at work. So my good friend Dan and I got mini season tickets to the
Mini?
Pacers. Well, there were 20 tickets we got. We went to 20 Pacer games.
Yeah. As long, I mean, you kind of do need a legitimate 3-point shooter because Halliburton proved he's unreliable. But other than that, he's a good player who can space the floor and pass very well. So, hold on to him and you'll be fine. Oh, and then we get good old 76ers. Oh gosh, your team. That team meeting proved that this team is toxic and doesn't have a good team environment. I mean, when your star players can be late for team meetings, you know there's a problem. Especially when Tyrese Maxey called out Embiid for it. I mean, Paul George doesn't look like a good move, especially now. I mean, it just doesn't look good for them. And I think they're going to be down here for a while. The process wasn't a success because of what they did. I do want to touch up on the no-win November Wizards. There are flashes. That's all I see. Other than that, your team is just not happening. There was promise, but who knows? I don't think this team is going to do it. Then in the West, I mean, the Thunder look good, especially with getting everyone back. The Grizzlies look very complete. Them and the Mavs look fantastic right now. The Rockets' young core with Ime Udoka look fantastic as well. The Lakers, as much as I dislike LeBron, I mean, they're getting everything they need. JJ Redick is proving to be a pretty good head coach. They just need legitimate D and spacing and they'll be fine. The Nuggets, they have no depth. They need that. The Warriors also need like a Jimmy Butler type guy. I mean, it would make sense for him to go there. I mean, there are trade rumors that he does, so I mean, it would make sense for him to go there. It would also give Steph the help that he needs. I mean, Clippers D, I mean, they look like a good team that's rising up, and Norman Powell looks like a fantastic young player. And then you have, the Spurs. Wemby's going to be a menace to the league for years to come. Him and CP3 look fantastic, and it's just Lob City 2.0. In my opinion, the Wolves, I mean, they've kind of been disappointing, especially with the disappearance of Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, you should have traded Gobert away first before him, because at least he was useful, unlike Gobert. All he does is he just serves to get dunked on by whoever. Then you have the Suns. I mean, really not much needs to be said about them, except they're up against the cap with 35-plus-year-old players and no depth and nothing. And no one wants to trade with them because they don't have anything cap-wise. And then the last team I'm really going to mention is the Pelicans. With the interesting thing is that Brandon Ingram, DeJounte Murray, and Zion are all tradable, meaning they could easily be moving Zion away, which would prove very disappointing. But then again, them getting Zion and them getting that pick to draft Zion gave us great reactions to laugh at the Knicks for it, because they all thought they were going to get the number 1 overall pick, draft Zion, and get Anthony Davis, and they didn't. So, I mean, that's there. I don't know what's going on. I mean, injuries are there, but this team was supposed to be a dark horse playoff contender, and they aren't. And yeah, it's just disappointing when you don't live up to expectations or have a legitimate offensive engine. The Hornets can tell you all about that with LaMelo being injured and Miller not being able to carry the team. But other than that, I'd say that just about does it for Triple Crown podcast. I mean,
Max, I am very impressed at how thorough and comprehensive your assessment was.
Yeah.
And I think you're a great addition to the STU-ing It podcast network, and we'll definitely do this again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I look forward to more episodes of the Triple Crown podcast.
Thank you, Max.
No problem. Other than that, that'll do it. I'm Max.
Do you have a sign off? Do you have a?
I'm gonna try that now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I stepped on it. I'm sorry.
That'll do it for this episode. I'm Max Greenberg. I mean, for some stuff hasn't happened yet, but when it does, hopefully this episode ages pretty well in terms of everything that's happened. And yeah, and that'll do it for now. Until next time, see ya.